I'm excited for comedy right now.
Yeah, comedy's
it's amazing.
Picking up steam again.
Well, it's like people are really longing for it because there's so much political correct bullshit, this woke bullshit, what you can and can't say. And so many people feel upset about it, and that like they don't know what to say because they can't talk at work, or they get fired. They can't talk amongst their community, or they get shamed. And they like, ugh. And then you can go see someone talk on stage and like,
yes. And that's what comedy always was.
Yeah.
It's always been that.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, everything that's happened has been natural. It's like normal that comedy has to be defended every few years.
Yeah.
Like when everybody's being cool, like when the world is kind of cool, like it was up till maybe 2015 or so, like it's just kind of cool. Comedy is cool and but then when things get shitty in terms of this sort of thing, people being more divided and unable to express themselves, comedy gets more important, but also starts getting attacked. And we have to defend it. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, by just doing it. That's all. I don't get into defending it by saying, "Fuck these people." It just means you have to keep doing it at the same discipline.
Right, and doing it the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't pull back.
No, just keep doing it, and folks will show up. And love it.
Well, that's one of the things I really loved about your last special. It was like 100% a Louis C.K. special. There wasn't, you didn't back off of anything. No. Like that whole thing that you did at the end, the faggot thing was so funny, man. It's so funny. It's such a good bit.
Yeah, that's new. Today's straight men are faggots.
Yes, it's so funny. It's so good because it's so like he's going there, but it was really well thought out.
My audiences are really diverse. I mean, in terms of like, I get young people and some kind of like progressive looking people. I get men and women and in all races, mostly white, but some cities I get more. But I tested it in front of so many people, that bit. And every kind of person laughed at it. The only people that got offended by it were people like in the South or more kind of like red state people, because when I said straight men are faggots, I'm talking about, Brooklyn twinks and whatever.
Right. But they don't know those
they think
people.
I'm talking about them. Hey man, what you call me? So they missed it. I thought I would be offending progressive young kids, but they for them it was a relief because it's about them, and they feel that way. In real life, people like being laughed at. They like their community to, like, when you do good jokes about black people, not like a white perspective about being alienated from them, but if you do a good joke about black culture or Chinese culture or Jewish culture, the people in those groups laugh because they're in the show and they know their culture as well as anybody does,
Yeah.
So that's always been the case, but people just, I mean, it never really changed. And the way I figured it was, there was no point in backing down and changing, because what do you want out of life? Like, what? Right. Maybe I could have. Like, I already had a crazy heyday where the kind of comedy I do, which is just flagrant fouls, just bad behavior throughout. Right. For a while, that was like considered the greatest thing, and people were just like, "This is great." Yeah. The mainstream loved it. Everybody loved it, right? And I had that for years, that success. So I figured if I have to do it and I start getting hated for it, or even just business goes down, I have to take some heat from the sides. So what? That's not a lot to ask of me, considering what I've enjoyed. So and it was like that before. When I first started, I was gross, and a lot of people stayed away from me. And then I had a heyday, and then I'm like, it's time to go back into the underground. It's time to go back into just like I don't get mentioned in the big lists for a lot of reasons, but also for the comedy. But so it's okay. It's acceptable to me if it's not as popular anymore. I'm still going to do the same thing.
But that's what's bullshit. It is as popular. The lists are nonsense. The lists are all non-binary people who made a fucking special in a coffee shop,
I guess. Like, and by the way, let them have the lists for a while. Yeah. That's fine too. That has never meant much. The mistake is when you're on it, you go like, yeah.
Right, exactly.
When you're on it, when you're on the lists and you're at the red carpet and stuff, it's like playing blackjack and you start getting good cards and you think you're good at blackjack. Right. You're like, see, I know what No, you just, It's an arbitrary thing that has its own reasons for being, and sometimes you get benefit for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't, and that's who gives a shit.
But like saying about your heyday, I think you're right there. Look, you sold out 10,000 tickets in a day. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, one time I did it 5 times in a year.
Well, I bet you could do it 5 times in a year. I don't think it's much different.
I think probably that one was it for to me. And also, I don't want to do 5 shows at the Garden.
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I bet you could.
Yeah, I
bet you could. Well, people fucking love comedy right now.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, we're having a great time. It's a lot of fun right now.
It's a fucking ball. I have no concerns on stage about,
yeah,
is this going to be?
They're coming to see you.
Yes.
They
also,
know what
by
to
the way,
expect.
I like the other thing is that this time was good for comedy, the time of people getting their assholes a little tighter, because like I was listening to Patrice last night with my opener, Ariel. I just 3 names for some reason. Fucking Ariel Isaac Norman. We worked together in New Orleans. We did a show in Mobile and we drove to New Orleans, and I was playing for her Patrice's album, Mr. P, and Patrice O'Neill, and he does a couple of bits and he says to the crowd, "You guys are laughing, that's good, but you're not all laughing, and that's good. I don't want you all to laugh." If everybody's laughing, it's not fun. You need somebody in here going like, that's not okay. And I believe that. Like it actually makes comedy better if it has an if you have pushback, because the problem that some comedians have is they get hurt. They get their feelings hurt. If someone doesn't like the joke, they feel that it's, oh, you don't like me. And then they back away from anything that makes them feel like that.
Yeah.
But if you can be like, here's a terrible thing, and the audience goes like, oh, and you just hear, you don't get emotionally involved.
Yeah.
You hear the, and you go, okay, I can either go around it or I can go into it. We can go further into this. There's potential in that horrible feeling for another laugh past it that they've never experienced.
Right.
Because usually when an audience shows, I don't want to hear that, people back away. But if you stay with it, I'm still talking about it. I'm still talking. I'm still your friend. Like, I'm not going, fuck you people.
Right.
You know, that thing, that's another cop-out.
Right.
Fuck you, you pussies. You just go, okay, you didn't like it? Well, here's a little more about it. And, and if you get them like that, and then you can... I remember...